Hey, and welcome to another Show Me Some Television segment. This is the segment where, thanks to Rogers, I'm getting some Show Me for free. And honestly, I probably should check when that's gonna run out, because, yeah, I gotta, maybe adjust my viewing schedule, because I gotta make sure I'm watching the right stuff. Can't start a new show until I've, caught up on old ones. And in this one, we're going to be talking about Season 2 of Iron Man Armored Adventures. Now, go back and check out the Season 1 where I'm talking, I'll go in about what is covered in Season 1 and what I thought about the animation, etc. And the idea, the concept behind the story. But in this, I'm talking more about Season 2 and how it relates to Season 1. And it's kind of weird because Season 1 was very much about obviously introducing characters and such, but it was very much about the Mandarin and the Makluan Ring stories. So it was kind of weird to start off Season 2, and that's actually pushed off to the side. It's still happening. Like, you'll get little bits of the story where Gene Khan is looking for the rings and such, but it's not a mainstay. For at least half to 3/4 of the season, it's really a nothing. It doesn't get full-on episodes where it deals with this until later on in the season. So it was kind of weird to see Season 1 go, very much, climaxing and all that kind of stuff with the Mandarin story, and then going into Season 2, and the Mandarin story is still happening, but it's kind of not really important. It's weird. I really wish they had have just dealt with the Mandarin story and done that through Season 1. Don't deal with anything else. Maybe a side story here and there just to round it out. But you know what? Deal with the Mandarin story right off the bat. Because then you could have gone into what essentially started off Season 2, and that is essentially the relationship between Tony Stark and Stark Enterprises and Obadiah Stane and Justin Hammer. Because essentially what happens here is, again, you got Hammer Enterprises, Stark Enterprises, and they're both sort of fighting for market control. They're both creating supervillains, both creating stuff, and the Iron Man armor specs get stolen. And soon, both Stark Enterprises and Hammer are creating their own little versions using the technology and creating, more supervillains, more different things and all that kind of stuff. So a good portion of that first, half, maybe even longer, of the season is Tony Stark and Iron Man dealing with these new, villains, dealing with Obadiah Stane and him, trying to take over, control of Stark Enterprises so that Tony will not gain control of it when he hits 18. And then you got Justin Hammer, who's essentially trying to take over Stark Enterprises by, business means, right? He's trying to become the big player on the block, so eventually, he can put in an offer and buy out the company, essentially, is what he's trying to do. He's trying to get so big that, Stark Enterprises essentially goes, oh, well, we can no longer compete with you. Would you like to buy us out? Or he would, give them an offer, and they'd be an offer they can't refuse type thing. So that's essentially the entire thing. It's Tony Stark going, oh my God, everybody can make their own Iron Man now. Why? And, just being... And you would think somebody like him, who's like a supercomputer genius, would have better security, not necessarily on his lair, but on his computer system. So you can't bust it, you can't hack him, right? And it's funny because it's not even it's not like it's the computer guy. Who was the computer guy? I can't remember his name. Fix? Is his name Fix? I don't know. But there's a computer guy in the series who's like, he is a hacker. That's what he does. That's all he does. He's brains, right? And it's not even him. It's not even who's hacking into Tony Stark's stuff. So that was just, whatever. But eventually, yeah, the stuff is stolen off of from Tony Stark. Plans get out there, and that's a good portion of the second season. Then eventually you get to, hey, we're back to the Mandarin story, and you round out the end of the second season and apparently the series, because it only lasted 2 seasons. Now, it does have a great climax at the end, because this season has, in terms of, additional characters, we had the Hulk, we got Nick Fury, we got Black Widow, we've got Black Panther, Doctor Doom, of course the characters who were there before, Ghost and Whiplash, and the Controller and Blizzard, and I'm trying to think, Crimson Dynamo is in this. Jean Grey. Jean Grey. Yes, we do have an X-Men sort of thing show up. Jean Grey is in this. I'm trying to think. I think there was one other. Who was it? I don't remember. I don't know. Yeah, essentially, you got War Machine, you got Iron Man. Pepper Potts gets her own suit of armor because, everybody's got a suit of armor now. She becomes Rescue. And then eventually we get this whole, the Makers, the Makluan race comes to invade the Earth, and all of Earth's heroes, at least in terms of the Iron Man universe, because apparently there's a line in one of the episodes where it's like, oh, where's everybody else? And they're like, oh, we tried to get a hold of them, but they weren't available. Yes, that's it's always the way it is, right? If you got a certain few comic books that are going to deal with this story arc, they're the only ones who are going to have to deal with this great evil thing, because all the other superheroes of the Earth are unavailable right now. They've got their own stuff to deal with, right? No, we're being invaded by aliens. The Earth is being invaded by aliens. I've got to deal with Magneto. Magneto was in this. That's why Jean Grey was there. Magneto was in the thing. So it's like, yeah, sorry, Cyclops and Wolverine can't come to the phone right now. They're dealing with Magneto. So you're just going to have to deal with it yourself. Oh, really? Okay. What about the Fantastic Four? Oh, no, Fantastic Four. They're off planet. They're flying around somewhere. Can't get rid of them. Can't get a hold of them. So what about, like the X-Men and X Factor or whoever, who's available? Oh, they're all dealing with their own supervillains, but, an alien invasion that could wipe out the Earth. Nah, whatever. Right. So, yeah, the climax is essentially you've got Nick Fury and Black Widow and the Hulk shows up with the 3 Iron Man armor guys, Mandarin, essentially all the good guys that you can think. Oh, Black Panther shows up again to help out battle these alien forces. So you have this big giant climax at the end. But yeah, it was just like, it was so weird. I'm watching this, and it was still entertaining as a season, but I didn't understand why the Mandarin story, which was so important in the first season, was kind of like pushed to the end, and then you climax with it. It made no sense. Sure, there is, sort of like a too much repetition, I guess, going to get the Guardian, get the ring, blah, blah, blah. But part of the whole thing in the first season was every time you did one of these, quests for the ring and against the Guardian, it was always about learning something about yourself or a moral message or something like that, right? And that was something that should have continued on. Like, it would have been a good thing to continue on with. But it was just such a side story that's just so weird to climax with it at the end of the season and the series in general. But it was cool to get all of these superheroes together to fight the aliens and such. Very much, reminiscent of the Avengers movie. So that was kind of cool that way. But yeah, it's so weird. It was just, I think, like I said, I think it could have been done better. I think they could have had more continuity in terms of how they structured their stories and just dealt with it better. Yeah. But yeah, honestly, I enjoyed the entire series. Once I got past the idea of this alternate Iron Man universe. So yeah, if you're at all into Iron Man, or you want to get your kids into it and they're preteen age and stuff like that, Iron Man Armored Adventures is definitely something to look at. All the characters, Iron Man, War Machine, Potts, and her eventually rescue armor, they're all teenagers. It's high school, right? So you get all of that stuff going on. And you get a lot of action. A good mix of different characters and such. So it's not always the same thing over and over again, which is nice. Yeah. There you go. As far as I know, Iron Man Iron Adventures is over, because I believe the last episode was in 2012. So you would think by now there would have been a third season. So there you go, guys. Iron Man Armored Adventures, 2 seasons to watch. I'll give it a thumbs up. It was entertaining. It's definitely something that I could see myself watching again a few years down the road. Even though I'm not the biggest Iron Man fan, I was kind of growing up. I was kind of into Iron Man and the idea of putting on an armored suit. And some of the stuff they do, that thinking when I was a teenager, some of that stuff is actually handled in the show. So, kind of wish I had this show growing up. Dang me for being too old. Anyways, yeah, more Shomi some television still to come. Plenty of television series out there to watch. So, stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good one.